Warden, I am not surprised it has come to this. And Alistair, if you were even remotely worthy of being called Marik's son, you would already be in the Landsmeet, now wouldn't you? You have torn Ferelden apart to oppose the very man who ensured you were born into freedom. But do not think you will get past me to desecrate the Landsmeet itself. The nobles of Ferelden will confirm my lord as regent, and we can finally put this to rest once you are gone. Cailan was a fool. He grew up a spoilt child in his ancestors' palace. He never knew what it was to be hunted, to starve. Maybe the Grey Wardens killed him, or maybe my lord let him die of his own foolishness. Either way, it may have saved Ferelden. I am not so blind as you think, Warden. I saw the tension between Cailan and Loghain. My lord is a man of fierce passions, none fiercer than defending this land. If Cailan threatened that, but whatever he did, it was only in defense of Ferelden. You think war is simple, don't you, Warden? You only fight monsters. No one sheds a tear over the death of an ogre. Torture is an ugly business. But sometimes it's the only way to learn what your enemy intends. And it is much harder to tell who the enemy is when all of them look like you. What was he supposed to do? You and Eamon were harassing him at every side, forcing him to empty the treasury to fight you. He never wanted a civil war. After Cailan died, everyone was supposed to rally, come together to fight the Darkspawn without crying to Orlais for aid. He never anticipated Neric's bastard would challenge the throne and force this war. I'm aware that he has changed. It has been difficult for him to realize his own countrymen would turn against him. I'm not surprised he is bitter. But he is still a great man, one of the best Ferelden has seen. Fine, you're right. What would you have me say, Warden? Loghain is a great man, but his hatred of Orlais has driven him to madness. He has done terrible things. I know it. But I owe him everything. I cannot betray him. Do not ask me to. I cannot. I swore an oath to die for my lord. To arms, men!
Increases our path of destruction.
My lords and ladies of the Landsmeet, Tyrn Loghain would have us give up our freedoms, our traditions, out of fear. He placed us on this path, yet we should place our destiny in his hands? Must we sacrifice everything good about our nation to save it?
A fine performance, Aemon. But no one here is taken in by it. You would attempt to put a puppet on the throne, and every soul here knows it. The better question is who will pull the strings.
Ah! Here we have the puppeteer.
Tell us, Warden, how will the Orlesians take our nation from us? Will they deign to send their troops, or simply issue their commands through this would-be prince? How much Ferelden blood does Orlesian gold buy these days?
There are enough refugees in Mybanor now to make that abundantly clear.
The South has fallen, Loghain. Will you let Darkspawn take the whole country for fear of Orlais?
The Blight is indeed real, Wolf. But do we need Grey Wardens to fight it? They claim that they alone can end the Blight, yet they failed spectacularly against the Darkspawn at Ostagar. And they asked to bring with them 4 legions of Chevaliers. And once we open our borders to the Chevaliers, and we really expect them to simply return from whence they came? Oh, please go on. The Landsmeet longs to hear a proper tactical analysis of Ostagar from an elf. You goaded him into making that charge. He believed the tales, Warden. He thought your handful of men would turn the tide for him. Strategy and consequences be hanged. What would you have me do? Cailan's was not the only life in my hands. Should I have sacrificed the entire army for his mistake? Do not imagine that you can shame me with Kaelin's death. He was Marik's son, my king. No one regrets his loss more than I do.
Selling elves? Explain this, Loghain.
This is war. Did you believe it would be like the old tales? Knights with pennants flying over battlefields where all outcomes are decided simply and with honor. War is cruel. Every soul who fought alongside Marik knows this. And in it, there are no such things as innocence, only the living and the dead, and the degrees of guilt both bear. Sacrifices were made. If they were too great, the Maker will judge me for it. But enough of this. I have a question for you, Warden. What have you done with my daughter? You took my daughter, our queen, by force, killing her guards in the process. What arts have you employed to keep her? Does she even still live?
I believe I can speak for myself. Lords and ladies of Ferelden, hear me. My father is no longer the man you know. This man is not the hero of Riverdane. This man turned his troops aside and refused to protect your king as he fought bravely against the Darkspawn. This man seized Kaelin's throne before his body was cold and locked me away so I could not reveal his treachery. I would have already been killed, if not for this Grey Warden.
So, the Warden's influence has poisoned even your mind, Enora. I wanted to protect you from this.
My lords and ladies! Our land has been threatened before! It's been invaded and lost and won times beyond counting. We Fereldans have proven that we will never truly be conquered so long as we are united. We must not let ourselves be divided now. Stand with me, and we shall defeat even the Blight itself!
Southreach stands with the Grey Wardens.
Waking Sea stands with the Grey Warden.
Dragon's Peak supports the Warden!
The Western Hills throw their lot in with the Wardens. Maker help us.
I stand by Loghain. We've no hope of victory otherwise.
I stand with the Warden. The Blight is coming. We need the Grey Wardens.
Traitors! Which of you stood against the Orlesian Emperor when his troops flattened your fields and raped your wives? You fought with us once, Eamon. You cared about this land once. Before you got too old and fat and content to even see what you risk. None of you deserve a say in what happens here. None of you have spilled blood for this land the way I have. How dare you judge me? Then, let us end this. I suppose we both knew it would come to this. A man is made by the quality of his enemies. Marik told me that once. I wonder if it's more a compliment to you or me. Enough. Let the Landsmeet declare the terms of the duel.
It shall be fought according to tradition. A test of arms, in single combat until one party yields. And we, who are assembled, will abide by the outcome.
Will you face me yourself, or have you a champion? It is you or me the men will follow. So, let us fight for it. Prepare yourself. I underestimated you, Warden. I thought you were like Kalen, a child wanting to play at war. I was wrong. There's a strength in you that I have not seen anywhere since Marek died. I yield.
Wait, there is another option. The Tern is a warrior and general of renown. Let him be of use. Let him go through the joining. There are 3 of us in all of Ferelden, and there are compelling reasons to have as many wardens on hand as possible to deal with the Archdemon.
The joining itself is often fatal, is it not? If he survives, you gain a general. If not, you have your revenge. Doesn't that satisfy you?
Absolutely not! Riordan, this man abandoned our brothers and then blamed us for the deed. He hunted us down like animals. He tortured you! How can we simply forget that?
You can't do this. My father may have been wrong, but he is still a hero to the people.
Honora. Harsh. It's over.
Stop treating me like a child. This is serious.
Daughters never grow up, Honora. They remain 6 years old with pigtails and skinned knees, forever.
Father.
Just make it quick, Warden. I can face the Maker knowing that Ferelden is in your hands.
So it is decided. Alistair will take his father's throne.
Wait, what? No! When did this get decided? Nobody's decided that. Have they?
So much for our plan to rule together. If Alistair would rather not have the throne, I am more than willing to take it.
I hardly think you're the appropriate person to mediate this, Honora. Warden, will you help us?
Certainly. I have never had the smallest doubt. Surely that's not a serious question. I have been the ruler of this nation in all but name for the last 5 years. I can lead Ferelden. Alistair can't. If you give him the crown, then you've only brought us a brief pause in the civil war. It will resume again at the first opportunity, and it won't end until a new dynasty holds power. And he'll need it. He can't hold the throne on his own, and every soul here knows it. Opportunists will forever be watching him, waiting to grab power.
Strange. I feel like I'm back at the Abbey, trying not to get chosen last for the sparring teams.
As ready as anyone ever is, I suppose. Which is to say, yes, I'm ready. I can do this. I may not know politics the way she does, but I know what needs to be done. I can get our armies marching toward the Blight. She only cares about having power. If that's the price of ending the Blight, it's my duty as a Grey Warden.
As the arbiter of this dispute, what is your decision? Who will lead Ferelden?
We do. I believe this is what King Merrick wanted. To see his blood tied to my father's to begin a new line of Ferelden kings.
But I did swear an oath. What I mean is, I'm all for founding a new line of kings. But, well, there's the Blight.
What the king is trying to say, my lords and ladies, is that he will be taking the field with his fellow Grey Warden to do battle with the Archdemon.
Yes. That.
Until then, I shall stay in Denerim and rule in my husband's absence, as I did for Kalen. But I trust Alistair shall reach a more heroic ending.
My fellow Grey Warden will, I hope, take Loghain's place as the leader of my armies. Shall we finish this thing together? Everyone, get ready to march! It's going to take all of Ferelden's strength to survive this blight. But we will face it, and we'll defeat it!
Ferelden is depending on you all.
You made me king. After all this is over with, they're actually going to put me on the throne. I'm going to be the king. Oh, thanks. That should be interesting, shouldn't it? I suppose there are worse things that could happen to me other than becoming king and being hitched up to a beautiful woman. And Nora probably thinks she'll just be able to push me off to the side. But I'm not that person anymore. She won't be able to walk all over me. I think I would have been furious at you once. But since our talk after seeing my sister, well, I suppose this might not be such a bad thing. This was always a possibility. I always feared it, but maybe there's nothing to fear. I might actually make a good king. You never know. I tell you what, though. I'll make a far better king if I have the right people by my side to help me once I'm on the throne. People like you. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure I could do well enough if I tried, but I wouldn't be in this position if it weren't for you. So in a way, you owe me. What do you say? Well, that option isn't really open to me anymore, is it? I'm going to be king whether I like it or not. Grey Warden or no. And if I can be an exception, then so can you. As a matter of fact, I insist. That's good enough for me. Arleman has left for Redcliffe. He says the army has gathered there and is almost ready to march. As soon as we're ready, we should head to Redcliffe ourselves. The blight awaits, right?
Ah, fancy meeting you here. I heard rumours that Redcliffe was once again open for business, but my word, isn't this amazing? Such bustle. The Earl has kindly offered my son and I lodgings in exchange for supplies. I'm happy to help him. And you too, of course. If you have need of my wares, you have but to ask. There's not just Darkspawn in the Horde, you know that? There are people with them. Folks who are sick with the blight, and their minds are all twisted and mad. I heard tell of a man meeting his own brother on the field, yet when he called out to him, his brother didn't even recognize him and just attacked. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
We have veterans in command, and the fury of youth at our back. We will be ready. On your order, Grey Warden. We are aware, but these men and women know what's at stake. They will not fail their homeland. The Jarl was generous, but rushed. Certain areas could see improvement. We're a mercenary force, Warden. Much of our equipment is self-financed. Were you to commit additional funds, we'd upgrade as we saw the need.
What do you want? I don't know. I guess we're pretty good friends now, right? I just keep thinking about all that slag with Branka. How I've turned out. I always said I was this way because she left, but I think maybe she left because of how I am. I've tried 27 new kinds of ale, and learned I'm just the right height to give a human girl a good time. That doesn't make me a good man. Enough wallowing in my own filth. Did you want to talk about something? What about? I do. A bit. A little bit. The only way I'd go back is if they all lined up to kiss my ass and didn't care if they lost their caste for doing it. Actually, that might be nice. But I can't go back now. I'd rather die than be castless in Orzammar. I guess I'd rather be a useless lump of a dwarf out here than a useless lump of a dwarf back there. Nice of you, Warden, but I know what side of the house the Lou is on. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy.
I know that look. You have something on your mind, don't you? Of course. I have not given this a lot of thought. What will I do? We've traveled far and wide. Does it need to end? Ugliness can be found anywhere if you look hard enough. The same can be said of beauty. There's so much out there. Adventures to be had and stories to be told. I want to be part of it all. I might need some company. And you're not too irritating. You're welcome to come along if you like. Good idea. Before one plans for the future, one should be sure one has one, yes?
I did not thank you. It occurs to me now that you have freed me from the crows, and yet I did not think to thank you for it. No matter why you did it, still it was done, and I the benefactor. So, thank you. No, there is a need. I am simply not accustomed to the customs that come with our arrangement. In the crows, we do not have friends, and yet here you are, and I cannot help but consider you such. Then allow me to say this. What we are doing here, stopping the Blight, I cannot think of anything I have ever done which is so worthy. I intend to see this through to the end with you. After all, someone must take responsibility for preventing your untimely death. A suitable task for a friend, yes? Oh, I'm not going to die. It's always the Grey Wardens that die. Did you not read the stories as a child? The hero always dies. Unless the hero has a trusty sidekick with him, then the sidekick dies instead. I knew there was a catch. This friendship business is for the birds, I see.
It's you! The Grey Warden! Andraste's mercy that you got here when you did. I thought for sure these monsters were going to get me. They all fled to the castle this morning, before the Darkspawn arrived. I thought I could make it to my home and back before they got here, but it took me too long to get down here. What a relief you arrived. I'm going to get out of here before any more of those things arrive. Thank you again.
My lord, you're here. Thank goodness. I don't rightly know. Riordan of the Grey Wardens arrived this morning, just ahead of the Darkspawn. I was told he has urgent news and to send out patrols to watch for your arrival. Then we were attacked. I don't rightly know. Things happened so fast, I only know he was scouting in the south before he arrived. I should take you to the hall right away, my lord. They'll be waiting for you there.